Okay, so been burning out the PLA here for about 2 hours now. Garage smells like it. And so I've got my uh, equipment on here. These are sleeves, welding sleeves, and I've got some gloves on. Warning about these gloves. I'm using them right now because I want dexterity. But at these kinds of temperatures, these things will not work. You will get burned. As with welding gloves, you will also get burned with these if you try to pick up anything that comes out of that kiln right now at 1,000 degrees. I'd give it 2 seconds. You'd reach, pick it up, and within 2 seconds you'd be dropping it. So anyway, having said that, good idea also to have clothing on, have a shirt on, have everything on. This is not overly dangerous right now, 1,000 degrees. Sounds like a lot, but 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, of course. It's not overly dangerous in that I'm not going to spontaneously catch on fire, but a little later on when we get up around 1,600 degrees, you really have to be careful because you get your hand anywhere near this kiln at 1,600 degrees, these gloves will catch fire. Any clothing you have on will burst into flames. So you really have to stay away from the open kiln and use the tongs, which I have here. These are really not tongs, but it's a mechanism, it's a tool that I use to pull the crucible out of the kiln. You don't need a kiln to do this, by the way. There's like a 10,000 videos online that'll show you how to make a propane-powered furnace that'll do pretty much what this kiln does. Melt aluminum and allow you to heat. As a matter of fact, I got one right up there on the shelf. Never used. Never used. Where is it? Let me get it in the picture here. Right there, up on the shelf, you can see the gas inlet, the blast, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call it, sticking out of the bucket there. But I built one. It's this fire brick in there, and it's super duper and all that, but I never used it because I came across this kiln, which cost me, I think, $225 on Craigslist, and this definitely does the trick. This was a good buy and a useful tool. I did have to add a controller. That's me. I added that, but other than that, thing works perfect for what I'm doing. So let's get back to this. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to prop the lid open. I've got a piece of angle iron here, and I've got a pair of tongs, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the you know what, I don't think I need to prop it open, but I got a pair of tongs, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach in here and I'm going to grab one of the two. I want to get this a little closer, the camera a little closer here. I've got two cooking in the oven here, and I'm going to grab it and pull it out, and then I'm going to close the lid again so we don't lose too much heat. What else do I want to say? I want you to pay attention to the position that things are in the kiln. They're upside down right now, and shockingly they're in the shape of a like a cup, because that's what they were molded in. This. I'm sure you figured that out. Right now the mold's upside down in a kiln, and they're supported by ceramic spacers like this. A lot shorter than this, but 3 of them, thusly, like that. And the mold is upside down like that to allow the PLA to melt out, and they're on a steel tray in here. And the burnout, you know, it's completely burned out now, it's ash, but that's how it's positioned in there. Like I said, the ceramic spacers here are a lot shorter in the kiln, but that's basically the position they're in the kiln that I use to burn them out, and there's 2 of them in there. And so let's grab one, and what we're going to do here is, the strategy is that we're going to take both of them out. We're going to put them in a bucket I showed you previously with the insulation, and we're going to put the insulation over the top of them. And they'll stay hot. They'll stay around 700-800 degrees for quite a long time in that bucket. And obviously I'm doing that to minimize the thermal shock when I pour the aluminum. We're not yet hot enough to melt aluminum, so it takes a while for the kiln to get up the temperature to melt the aluminum, and so I want to keep the molds hot during that period of time. I cannot leave the molds in the kiln you know, while I go up to 1650 degrees, because they will likely crack. Okay, now there are minor cracks in them anyway, usually very, very narrow hairline cracks in them, but if I ran it up to 1650 degrees, I'd probably have like 1/8-inch cracks in the mold, so it would ruin the mold. So I'm going to pull the first one out, and I really, with these things, because they're heavy, I really have to grab onto them to get them. And here's the first one, and I'm already struggling with it. That's the first one. That's what it looks like. Right there, there's 2 vents and 1 inlet in the center. And so I'm going to put this in the bucket with the insulation. And we will get back to that later. I'm going to pull the second one out, and I'm going to put it in the same bucket. Dropped it a little bit. Hopefully it didn't crack anything. Nope, we're good. Same deal here. Okay. I'm going to cover the bucket. And now I'm at 1000 degrees, and quickly I'm going to show you that I have a crucible in here that's filled with aluminum I'm ready to melt. And we're going to set the controller to go to 1650, 1700 in that area. And aluminum melts at 1250, but you really want it to be hot and molten, because as soon as you pull it out of there, you pull that crucible out of there, seconds count because it's already cooling. So you need to be fast. Okay. Alright, well, I went a little too far. We'll put this at around 1750. Hit the set button. And now we're just going to wait for this to melt the aluminum. And usually I have a camera here set up so that I can go watch TV or whatever while the kiln heats up. And that's probably what I'm going to do right now. camera here so I can monitor the temperature, and we'll end this. I thought my camera shut off, so we'll end this right now, and I'll get back to you when we have something to show.